are of value for either everyone or no one. And we acknowledge that there can't be isles of freedom for forever. We acknowledge that those on these isles of freedom are called upon to carry on this wonderful idea of freedom and equal opportunities. This knowledge appears similar to the spirit of Immanuel Kant's categorical imperative, the spirit to do the right thing. This spirit that is more and more spreading in the world of the 21st century. Isles of freedom can mostly be geographically encircled, but not only. Also, within the so-called free world, there are wide areas of no freedom. There are individuals, there are groups that are not free. But is it possible to face this challenge? Is it possible to reach just conditions on a regional as well as on a global scale? Barack Obama calls to us, yes, we can. And this is exactly the point that decides who is prepared for the message of Barack Obama. Worldwide, it seems to be the overwhelming majority of people. People who, for whatever reasons, are still captured, rooted in the 20th century, that was struck by war, colonialism, and racism, still have difficulties with this message. But we have had enough of these immoral ideas, ideas of superiority and inferiority of people. This year, we shall witness vivid history. The 20th century, the second millennium, is past. We look forward and we forget these old ideas of old men. We abandon this burden. Now is the 21st century. It is about time. It is time for us. And it is time not to demand the promise of the United States, the promise of free and democratic societies of freedom and equal opportunities, but it is time to make this promise a reality. Because here is to be found the so-called American dream that all people dream. From first day, this dream had to withstand the test during the extermination of Native Americans, slavery, and segregation. The promise has been often dishonored, but that could not weaken the strength of the dream. It has not hindered people to demand the fulfillment of the promise day by day, because they know it is possible. Because since eternity, they carry a very special knowledge in their hearts, and that goes, yes, we can. And so it is only natural that the person who manifests this knowledge visibly for everyone and speaks it out wins the heart of the people. In a social and political context, the statement reaches a revolutionary dimension. It takes away the possibility for justification of injustice from the politically responsibles. It confronts the politically responsibles with the promise of a free and democratic society. There is no room for exculpation and pretended pragmatism. And this applies within nations as well as globally, between nations, on an international basis. On the other hand, the statement leaves no room for accusations to the political responsibles or to become resigned in the face of existing conditions. It is an invitation for independent, self-confident action. It is exactly this dynamic that lives within a democratic society, the ability for permanent renewal that Tocqueville acknowledged 180 years ago. What would happen if the United States of America and other democratic nations succeeded in raising the American dream, their promise to the world, to the state supreme doctrine, to raise the promise of freedom and equal opportunity to the top state doctrine? Well, I'm not a prophet, and the result appear so wonderful that all could be wiped off as wishful thinking. But here it is again, this knowledge in our hearts, and here again is Barack Obama who calls to us, yes, we can. One question remains. Can he? Can an African son become the President of the United States of America? That is the question that moves people worldwide. This question already lifts the primary election on to the international state. What value would the American dream if the United States would refuse this brilliant candidate? The candidate produced during the last decades in any democratic state who puts any other politicians into his shadow with great distance. He combines in his person, with his message, his appearance, all those attributes that makes democratic nations attractive. The answer of the world community would be clear. The American dream would be ended. For a long time, freedom and equal opportunities would be done away as empty words. But this is a backward-looking view, a view of the 20th century. Today, we focus on the new chances, the new perspectives that bears the vote for Barack Obama. The United States of America will have fulfilled one part of the promise of the American dream, only 40 years after the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King. Latin America and Asia are, like Africa, regions of young people. And Barack Obama wins the youth in the United States. It is not overstated to talk about a beginning new movement. And it is obvious that young people in Latin America, Asia and Africa will be inspired through this. Intermediate new alliances will become conceivable. To the European countries, the election of Barack Obama would show quite plainly and maybe painfully that they have, for whatever reason, grossly neglected, relinquished existing resources. In fact, there are hundreds of thousands highly qualified and skilled people with an ethnical minority background. But one search for them vainly in the medium and top positions in science, politics, and commerce. A president, Barack Obama, could relieve Europe from these old bondages in their minds and open access to these resources, an absolute necessity in the age of globalization. The whole African continent is currently caught within a highly complicated mixture of social emergency and dictatorships of political leaders with a lack of any sense of responsibility for the people and for the continent. The United States, under the leadership of Barack Obama, would be for the first time in a position to initiate a process of real democratization of Africa. And finally, through the election of Barack Obama, Tocqueville's conclusion would be affirmed again. The revolutionary strength of democracy is the ability of permanent renewal, the constant reflection of the existing. A democracy that has lost this dynamic won't be able to guarantee its defining absolute terms, freedom and equal opportunity. Subsequently, the words of Barack Obama accomplish the circle. The words that have created a free and democratic society, the words that guarantee the continuance of a free democratic society. Yes, we can. Let me finish with a parable. If you offer a person who is almost dying of thirst a glass of polluted water, he will drink it. Is he offered next to it a glass of clear water, he will decide on that. Barack Obama is this clear water. He is the new offer of a free democratic society to the since many years doubtful global community.